Hello and welcome to the tutorial of life. Yes, the tutorial of life, the real tutorial of life. I know a lot of people are completely lost on how to play this actual game called life. And in this video, I'm going to explain it to you. How wonderful is that? Now, I have to tell you, and of course I made a very beautiful presentation, but I have to tell you, this is going to be some occult information, some deep information. This is going to be the actual information that you need in order to win in life. And this is secret information, bro. This information is secret. It is Illuminati information, bro. The Illuminati has this information. That's why they are the Illuminati. And you see the pyramid, the freaking sinister people with the unseen hand, and up top here, the eye, which represents consciousness. This video is going to explain to you how to play the game of life. Now, first I have to tell you, life is an actual video game. It is a real video game. Life is a video game, bro. Just like you play on your DS or your PlayStation or your PC, your gaming PC. Life is a video game. It is quite literally GTA. Life is video game. That's the first thing you have to understand and you have to realize. Life is an actual video game. It is a game, bro. Like, I'm telling you right now, it is a video game. I'm sorry, I'm not the one who made this, but I'm telling you right now, it is a video game. And in every video game, you have certain features. You have certain things you have to notice, you know? For example, in Minecraft, you have your health bar. Or in Call of Duty, you have your health bar. Or in some fighting games, you have your stamina health bar. Or in Pokemon, you have your items, you know? If you don't have enough Pokeballs, like you don't have enough items to go on with your game and catch Pokemon. Even your Pokemons have health bars. Now, this game we call life also has certain principles, fundamental things you have to know in order to play this game. Now, first I have to ask you a question. I don't know if you ever played video games. You can also reference this to any other games, sport games. But the question is this: when is the actual point in time that you start to become good at a video game? It is not the first day. It is not the second day. And it doesn't have to do anything with time, even though most of the times it takes time for you to actually learn this video game. However, the point where you actually start to become good at the video game that you're playing is the point that you actually understand and realize how the game works. So for example, if I was gonna play Call of Duty or Pokemon or Minecraft or Roblox, I would only start to become good at the game if I know how the game works from inside out, from A to Z. I need to analyze the entire game before I actually start performing good, before I actually start to win consistently, before I start to become a pro. The same is with life. Life also has its certain fundamental principles. And in this video I'm going to teach you those fundamental principles that you actually need to know in order to start become good at this game. Now, most of you already know this. School is not a live tutorial. School is not a live tutorial. Most of you already know this. However, For those of you who don't know this, I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to show you actually. Bear with me. First, let's ask the question. Who created the school system? Now this beautiful AI is going to tell us. No single person created it. Horace Mann created it from 1700. Blah 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 blah. While figures like John D. Rockefeller later influenced standardization of workforce needs and ancient civilization like Sumerians. Okay, that doesn't matter. John D. Rockefeller later influenced standardization of workforce needs. Now, who is John D. Rockefeller, and what are some of his famous quotes? John D. Rockefeller. Look, John D. Rockefeller, one of his most famous quotes was, "I don't want a nation of workers. I don't want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers." It's all over the internet, bro. John D. Rockefeller didn't want thinkers. He wanted workers. So he helped design a system that created exactly that. So that's just some proof to tell you that this program that you went through multiple years is not designed for you to think with your brain. You're just designed to be a battery for the system. Now, most of you already know this, but if you don't know this, bro, time to wake up now. It's time to wake up now, bro. You don't have any more time. So school is not the tutorial of life. Then now you have the question, then what is? Great question. I'm going to tell you. This is actually how to play life. Now, you see this beautiful picture. I'm going to explain it to you in a second. I created it myself. This is the only thing you need to know. However, first, let's go back to the video game thing. And let's reflect it onto life. If you actually start thinking, okay, so what are the game rules of life? You have to think very fundamentally. What is there in this life? And I knew that everything that humans created did not count. I knew the fundamental things of life. I had to go back. So no cars, no houses, no schools, no internet. What are the rules of life? You have the physical world, the trees, the clouds, the sun, nature, animals should be here as well. That's pretty much it, as you would think, as most would think. However, there's two more things to actually consider in the rules of life. Number one is your brain, your consciousness, your brain, your ability to think. I would assume most of y'all have the ability to think. If you have a brain, you have the ability to think. Now, secondly, emotions, your heart. Emotion stands for energy in motion, able to feel. So there's actually three things. You have the physical world, you have your brain, which is consciousness, and you have your emotions, which is energy in motion. And this is you, this is me. Now, anything a human does in life is based on what the human thinks and what the human feels. Now, if you look closely, there's actually a meter here. Let's call it a life bar, your energy bar. This bar can be full or it can be empty. That's why there's a bar. However, your brain is always working 24/7. Even if you sleep, your brain is working. Even if you die, your brain is somewhat working, bro. I'm telling you right now. And this physical world is always here. If you sleep, the physical world is still here. If you sleep, I'm still out here working. Everyone is out here working. So those are the fundamental principles, aka rules of life. You have the physical world, you have your brain, which is your ability to think, and you have your emotion, which is energy, emotion, and your ability to feel. Keep this in mind. These are the only rules. Thinking, feeling, experiencing. Thinking, feeling, experiencing. Consciousness, emotion, physical world. Yes, there's more, but for now, this is the most basic fundamentals you need to know. Now, how does it work? You see this body here, which represents you and me. This body does things in life. For example, you would be working, you would be partying. But before you actually do something, first there is a thought. So for example, your thought would be, this is boring. Let me do something fun. Let me go to a party. So it first starts with a thought. Life starts at a thought. It doesn't start here. It doesn't start outside. The party doesn't come to you. You do not wake up and there's like suddenly a party around you. And if it does, you still manifested that yourself. You brought yourself into the ability to have that environment around you. Even that would have started as a thought. So you need to know, before this physical body actually does anything, it starts as a thought. Now you're thinking, okay, but you haven't mentioned the emotion. True. How it actually works is, it starts with a thought. Your thoughts would be converting into emotions. So you would feel excited for the party. You would feel joy. You would feel like, oh my god, yes, this party is gonna be so great. So it starts as a thought, then it converts into a feeling, and after that it converts into a physical action, into your reality, so to say. Now it's not the other way around, which this world wants to teach you. This world wants to teach you that there's only this physical earth. This world doesn't teach you that you need to have consciousness, the world does teach you that you have emotions. However, the world doesn't teach you that you should be proactive in your emotions instead of reactive. Now I'm going to give you an example of this. Let's for example say you're scrolling on TikTok. You see some video of some guy smacking a girl, or the other way around, or you see a video of a girl cheating on a guy. You would feel maybe angry. Or you would see a video of Andrew Tate flexing on you. You see him flexing, calling you a loser. You would feel angry. Now let me give you another example. You walk on the street, someone is insulting you in a very bad way. So he would say something that actually hurts your feelings. You would get mad. Now what happens after you get mad? You take physical action, which means you would want to start a fight. You would want to knock that guy out. You would get angry. So you have to realize it is connected. It is not just the physical world. All three of these are connected 24/7. That's the game of life. That's how it works. You only have your consciousness, then after that you have your emotion, and finally you have the physical world. Now if you want to do anything in life, you have to realize you have to go outside of this physical world first. Go outside of here. It doesn't exist, bro. If you want to actually achieve something, you have to go inside. You have to reprogram your brain, reprogram your consciousness. You have to realize this physical world where I'm standing in right now and you're probably laying in your bed. The physical world is the least of your priorities right now. The mental world, the brain, the way you think is your number one priorities. Secondly comes the way that you feel as priority number 3. And the last and final priority is the physical world, what you actually do. So if you want to achieve something, you have to go inside. You have to target your own mind first. Reprogram your mind. You have to realize, bro, I'm doing this 24/7. You have to realize, what am I thinking about? Is that something I want to think about, or would I rather think about something else? What is that something else I would want to think about? And then actively think about that. Now before we proceed, there's something I have to take care of really quickly. Hold on. Sorry about that. So yeah, sorry about that. It was getting a little bit warm and I had the idea of getting it a little bit colder. That's why I jumped into my pool. And it started with an idea. It didn't happen first. I was first thinking of jumping inside that pool. I was feeling warm. And I got the idea of jumping inside the pool. And then after that, it became physical action. It became reality. Now take a look at this picture. This is going to be the most important picture you will ever see in your entire life, bro. This is the most important picture you're going to experience in your entire life. You have to live by this picture. I live with this picture. Every rich guy lives with this picture. Everyone that's like successful in this life, they live with this picture. Okay? And I'm going to explain you this picture. As you can see, we have a nice, what's this thing called? Reverse pyramid. I know it's like something else in English. However, I'm not coming up with the name. Now at the left, what do we see here? We see emotions. We see enlightenment, peace, joy, love, reason, acceptance, willingness, neutrality, courage, pride, anger, desire, fear, grief, apathy, guilt, shame. These are all feelings, emotions again. Now what do we see at the top? Ultimate consciousness, thinking. Now what do we see here? We see some numbers. These are the frequencies that align with these specific emotions. Now finally, what do we see here? We see the blue line, which is expanded, and we see the red part, which is contracted. Now I'm going to give you a little spoiler. This is heaven and this is hell. Now let me explain to you a little bit more. What does this mean? First of all, I have to tell you, these emotions, you feel any of them at all times. Most of you feel neutral, but some of you would feel angry. Very few of you would feel peace, joy, love. A lot of you are feeling these emotions here. So shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, in other words, lust, anger, or hate, pride. Now, look where the border is. You see heaven and hell. They're separated by the neutrality emotion. So everything here, willingness, acceptance, reason, love, joy, peace, all of those emotions, if you are experiencing right now, it means you are in heaven. If you experience any of these emotions, courage, yes, pride, anger, desire or lust, fear, grief, apathy, guilt, shame, it means you're currently in hell. Sorry, bro, but it's just the truth. So which one is all the way at the bottom? Shame. Now let me explain this to you further. What happens when you feel shame? When you feel shame, you just want to sit inside a corner all day and don't take physical action. You just feel shameful. You're just shameful of yourself. You're shameful of what you did, for example. For example, someone exposed your darkest secrets, your most darkest secrets that you have. That person is exposing them into the world. You would feel shameful. Now, if you feel shameful, would you still take action within the physical world? No, you wouldn't. You would just sit inside of this little box. Now, I could show you what that looks like. However, I'm not feeling shameful right now. But let's just pretend. If I feel shameful, I would just sit here. I would just sit here all day long, scared to take action. I don't know, bro. It doesn't feel comfortable for me. So I'm getting out. Now, guilt, you all know guilt. You can feel guilt. It is the second lowest. Grief, if you feel grief, you feel sad. You're not doing anything, you just feel sad. Now, fear, this is a very recognizable emotion. If you fear something or if you're feeling fear right now, you're also not going to be taking action. You're just fearful. You're not going to be taking that step that you actually need to take. Now, this is a big one, bro. Desire or lust. Let me give you a great example. The feeling of desire, aka lust. Now, if you were to, for example, feel desire or lustful, and I know everyone knows that feeling, you wanna beat your meat or you wanna smash. So you have to understand, because you're feeling this emotion, your physical reality is gonna move accordingly. So because you feel desire, you feel lust, you're gonna take action and go smash or go jerk off. Now, anger. If someone makes you angry, what do you want to do? Don't you want to smack that person? Don't you want to teach them a lesson? So just because you feel angry, your physical reality is going to move accordingly. You're going to smack that person. Pride, courage. Actually, it kind of surprised me in the beginning that these were considered hellish. I mean, they're kind of under neutral, so they're not the baddest to be in, but there's so much better emotional states to be in. So neutral, this is like when you wake up and you had like a neutral dream, like no nightmare or anything. You just wake up neutral, and after you wake up neutral, you go on your phone and you see some rage page online, and you would get into anger instantly. Oh, I hate my life. Oh, this is making me so angry. And it's just fucking up your day, bro. Your day is just ruined. So, what is your job here? If you see this beautiful chart, your job is to consciously shift your feelings from hell into heaven. So for example, I would be publishing this video right now and someone would be dropping a hate comment. So for example, say, oh yeah, you're full of ass. Like, you're just talking a bunch of crap. Or, you're ugly. Or, you're a loser. It would make me angry, or it would make me shameful. And if I get stuck in that feeling, I would not upload again. So what I do is I consciously shift my emotion from shame all the way to love, joy, peace, and enlightenment. Now you can forget enlightenment for now. Maybe it's a little bit too advanced, but focus on these. Feel peaceful. Why do you think forgiving someone is so powerful? You don't forgive someone for them. You forgive them for your own peace of mind. Because if you are angry at someone, your reality is going to reflect to that. However, if you forgive that person, you would feel peace and you would be in heaven again. Now I'm here, enlightenment, and you see here it is 700 plus. It doesn't stop. The more enlightened you are, the better your physical reality is gonna represent that. Now I'm going to give you a little spoiler. Ultimate consciousness, that's Jesus. Yes, ultimate consciousness is Jesus. Jesus is enlightenment. Jesus is consciousness. Now let me give you an example. You would feel desire, so you would go on the hop and you would bust your nut. Now, you have all heard of this post-nut clarity, right? You would be thinking, after you did your thing, you would be thinking like, what was I doing? I need to snap out of it. That's you being enlightened. It is essentially Jesus saying to you, hey bro, what you're doing is not good. Snap out of it. So you would go from desire all the way up to enlightenment again. But then you go on Instagram and you see some girl twerking her ass, and you would go all the way back to desire again, and the loop just goes on and on and on and on and on. Now, so this is it for now. I think it's already a bunch of information. Go study this picture, bro. This is the most important picture you will ever come across. If you have any questions, drop a comment. Good luck.